Hello again. Back to report that I have made it to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much. Now that I've crossed that item off my bucket list, I can finally move on with my life. Or at least try to get into this a bit more seriously. But first, I have a few questions to answer. Why did you decide to name yourself after a FNAF character with Keyboard Smash as its name? I made my channel a little over a year after the first FNAF game, around the release of FNAF 4. I knew I wanted my channel to have a 5 Nights at Freddy's focus, so I basically just looked for any FNAF related name that hadn't yet been taken. Since back then I watched practically everything FNAF I could find, I had come across Shadow Bonnie's official name in the game files of FNAF 2 and found it cool. I checked, and it wasn't taken, so that became my channel name. However, FNAF World, which released a few months later, revealed the name to the general fanbase, which meant a lot more people decided to use it as well. Since it's no longer unique, I finally decided to change things up. If you didn't notice, I have made a slight change to my name. I am no longer RxQ, but instead RYZ, the name I've used on other platforms when RxQ was taken. Aside from FNAF World, what is your favorite FNAF game? Well, to be perfectly honest, I'm not even sure FNAF World is my favorite FNAF game. It's definitely in the top 3 though. The other 2 are Security Breach and Freddy in Space 2. Which of those 3 is my actual favorite, I'm not sure. Though if we're counting only mainline games, then I guess I would have to say Security Breach. I love being able to run around and explore and do things at my own pace, and all 3 of those games satisfy that quite well. Will the Nightmare Fredbear yawn ever make a reappearance? Yeah. Why did you decide to make the Cheater's Guide to FNAF World? This stems all the way back to FNAF World's original release. Since I tended to watch lots of other Let's Players, I learned of the load screen glitch fairly early on. From Razbowski, actually. I don't know if he fully understood it, but he was using it to collect red chests from glitch mode. I decided to try that same tactic on other things, and discovered I could use it to tent hop and also fight bosses from glitch mode. Because of this, I made my first wildly successful video, for me anyway, beating Scott on normal mode. I knew very little about the save files back then, but I started looking into them out of necessity when I got myself stuck hopping through the wrong tent. When Update 1 released and fixed the load screen glitch, that video became outdated. Many viewers commented saying it didn't work, or asked if the same thing could be done in the updated version. At first, I just said no. That bug had been patched, so tent hopping was no longer possible. I did know there were other ways to face Phantom Dude on normal mode, but they involved modifying the save files. When people kept asking, I finally decided to demonstrate it, and made beating Scott on normal mode too. Though it didn't explode like the first one, that is also one of my most viewed videos, and still gets regular views all these years later. It was in the comments of one of these videos that someone requested I make an actual tutorial. I had been answering various questions about the save files, how you could move yourself around, or change areas, or raise your HP, or whatever. So it would make sense if I consolidated all that into video form to make it more accessible. But that required research. With some help from my brother, the MathGeek314, I analyzed the save files and took note of what entries I knew were for. It wasn't all of them by any means. To figure out what the rest did, I played through the game several times, keeping track of when entries would show up. I was still going through high school and then college at the time, so I didn't really have much time to work on this. My channel went through a bit of a lull for a couple years before I finally got the motivation to start making videos again. Starting from where I left off, I completed my analysis of the save files. By now I had a much better idea of how to make the tutorial, and even what to call it. This also came from a comment where someone referred to me as the cheater of FNAF. So I ran with it. I created a series called The Cheater's Guide to FNAF World. Questions: how long would it take in normal gameplay to max a character's level on hard mode and max the coin count in every character's level to max? Second, can you play FNAF World Simulator and stream or let's play it? Last question, can you ask the person who made the FNAF World high difficulty same character mod to update it to let you use more than one of the same bytes at once and have theme work also for chips, and ask him to add HP bar to the bosses? That doesn't ask him on GameJolt or Twitter. Your entire life? I already played it, I have no idea. Also, punctuation. That's all I got for right now. If you have any more questions for me, go ahead and ask. Maybe I'll do this again. Thanks again for all your support.